Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, June 17th, 2019. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Last weekend, Tracy Morgan was in an accident where he was sideswiped by someone while he was driving his brand new $2 million Bugatti. After I read that story, somebody made an important point to me. Even if he restores this car to mint condition, it's still better than an accident, so it'll never be as solid as it was when it rolled off the lot. And given the fact that Ryan Terry is still on the mend from hip surgery, I think asking whether or not he could ever get back to his pre-injury level is a legitimate question, even though they don't judge legs in men's physique. This guy is the men's physique equivalent to a high-performance machine, and only time will tell whether or not he's tuned up enough to throw it back into sixth gear. Sometimes the biggest hurdle to climb when you're coming back from an injury is the mental hurdle that tries to keep you from pushing yourself to your limits again. But as far as I can tell, my buddy Fouad Abiad seems to be doing a pretty good job of avoiding that trap so far. After being sidelined with a nasty triceps injury a few months ago, it's starting to look more and more like Fouad is getting back to being his old self again. You know, for a lot of guys at this point in their careers, there would be some who would rather just pack it in instead of having to go through the grind of another rehab. But Fouad's a unique character, and something tells me we haven't seen the last of him yet. For the most part, it's been a pretty ho-hum year in the 212 division. We haven't had a whole lot of action, no one's jumped in and made a huge splash, so when you look at what Yamagishi did in his win last week at the Dallas Europa Pro, it's hard not to look at his situation as the most interesting thing we have going on in the entire division. I mean, here we have a former Arnold Classic winner and Olympia runner-up who I think a lot of people had essentially forgotten about because he'd been out of his seat and out of his mind and out of the game for quite some time. But now that he's taken center stage once again, let's see if he's ready to step up and seize the moment. Sometimes bodybuilding can be simple and complicated all at the same time. Take the classic physique division, for example. Simple math tells you that adding Alex Cambronero into the mix this year means someone on the Olympia stage is getting knocked off. But trying to figure out who that person is starts to make things complicated. Cambronero is a guy who was born to be in this division. He has the lines and the shape and the structure that make him a natural fit. But with every addition, there does have to be a subtraction to make things equal out on both sides. And at this point, I'm still not sure who the odd man out might be. Let's stay on the math subject for just a minute, because I want to talk about Keon Pearson. Now here we have a guy who could end up being the variable that ultimately changes the whole equation in the top 5 at the Olympia. He's universally considered to be one of the next great talents in the division. So far, I'd say he's lived up to the hype, and this kid seems to be getting better every time we see him. Not to mention the fact that he's already shown that he can win at the highest level. Keone is the X factor in this equation, and I know I won't be the only one who's curious to see the end result and what it looks like. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.